Dear President of the Human Rights Council, dear Tatiana Valovaya, Secretary General of UNOC, Your Excellency Mayra Mariela McDonald Alvarez, Permanent Representative of the Plurinational State of Bolivia, dear Adriana Quiñones from UN Women, distinguished panelists here with me, dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very special day for us, all of us. A day that celebrates the women who have shaped our world, and a call to action for the future we will build together. Let me first express my appreciation to the organizers of this event, the Office of the President of Human Rights Council, the Permanent Mission of Bolivia, and UN Women. Thank you for organizing this event. Today we are reminded that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Giants, like it was said, like Eleanor Roosevelt, whose relentless spirit ensured women's voices were etched into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. With her, a legion of pioneers deserves our recognition. Hansa Mehta and Lakshmi Menon of India, Minerva Bernardino of the Dominican Republic, Begun Shaista Ikramullah of Pakistan, Bodil Begtrap of Denmark, Marine-Hélène Lefachot of France, Evdokia Udalova of Belarus, and countless other women who fought for the rights of their sisters at the very foundation of the multilateral system, ensuring that the first line of the Universal Declaration, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, really meant what it meant. 50 years later, Louise Fréchette was said, shattered another glass ceiling as the first UN Deputy Secretary General, appointed by Secretary General Kofi Annan. And now we have Amina Mohammed, appointed by Secretary General Antonio Guterres. These women paved the way for more women to lead today at all levels of the political and diplomatic spectrum, in the UN programs and international organizations. Many of those women are here with us. Their presence here today are a testament of the road we have traveled. So let me celebrate their work, their contributions, and their achievements. Let's celebrate that we have achieved parity in the senior leadership positions of the UN Secretariat, that we have almost parity in the representation of heads and deputy heads of UN contributions, and that the diplomatic community in this city is making great efforts towards gender equality in diplomacy. Here I want to refer to the joint statement of women diplomacy and human rights, addressed today to the President of the Human Rights Council, as well as initiatives such as Men Engage, which is led by men diplomats who want to champion equality, and which show that this is a fight that is not only for us women to fight. In addition, since 2014, a number of countries have officially declared a feminist foreign policy, a feminist diplomacy, or a feminist development assistance policy. These countries are many. I will mention some. I hope I am not leaving anybody out. Canada, France, Mexico, Luxembourg, Spain, Chile, the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden. But this cannot be just a day of celebration. We are reminded today also that the path ahead is still long. We have not reached the goal of 50-50 gender distribution throughout the entire hierarchy of the UN. And outside the UN, as was said, only 20% of all ambassadorial positions worldwide are led by women. Geneva is a little bit better, as was said, with 35% of all diplomatic positions in the city being filled by women. I may be the first woman to lead the UN Trade and Development, but after all these years, being the first is at the same time a celebration, but more a reminder of the lack of equality. For as long as we keep counting the first, the second, the third, we haven't yet achieved gender equality. This just means women are underrepresented in leadership roles when it should have been the norm. I also believe women's empowerment goes beyond our novelty. It is about the value of our contributions, our perspectives, and our leadership. Your Excellencies, on this note, I would like to share a personal reflection. As some of you know, these past few years, I have been working very hard on what became known as the Istanbul Agreements, which include the Black Sea Grain Initiative and the UN MOU with the Russian Federation. In working on my speech for today, it occurred to me that today is a good opportunity to reflect on this experience from a woman's perspective. To be honest, I have not had the time to pause and reflect on it until now. We've been really so busy. By the way, my team in this initiative was a parity team. And the two main leading roles were performed by women. So, looking back, I think it is indeed true that we women do bring something different to the table. First, dialogue was about closing the gap about the different perspective clearly present in any negotiation. The aim was not to win. The aim was not to lose the focus on the objective we wanted to achieve. Not reacting too impulsively, and surely not giving up to provocation was essential. Second, the objective of the negotiation was such a priority precisely because us women are aware that geopolitics have differentiated gender implications and that we must consider them at the start, not as an afterthought. I am talking about, in this case, the implications of food insecurity for women and girls, who often eat last and least, about the lack of representation of women in the diplomatic, political, and especially military hierarchies that often decide how wars are run and how they eventually end. And thirdly, our views of war and violence are different. We live in a world that, unfortunately, where war is speaking on behalf of diplomacy. But for us women, peace holds a different meaning. When we speak of peace, we don't speak of it as an abstract concept, a dove in the sky. For us, peace is no abstract. It is a meal shared by a family no longer fearing hunger, a child's laughter echoing in a village no longer ravaged by conflict, a mother's embrace that no longer carries the dread of uncertainty, the possibility of living free of gender violence. We understand that the fabric of peace is woven with threads of empathy, compassion, and shared responsibility. These are not feminine qualities, obviously, but human qualities that we, as women, are often more attuned to because of our experiences, however unfair and unjust they have been. I have said many times that we are not a vulnerable group. It is our rights that have been violated or weakened. Vulnerability is not intrinsic to us. It's the violation of our rights what creates vulnerability. In the spirit of the Women, Peace and Security Agenda, as established by the UN Security Council Resolution 1325, we recognize that sustainable peace and security cannot be achieved without the full and meaningful participation of women at all stages. This agenda is not solely about conflict resolution, but encompasses prevention, protection, participation, and relief and recovery. We are not merely seeking a seat at the table. We are aiming to reshape the table itself, to build a world where peace is not just an abstract idea, but a lived reality for all, a lived reality for all. So far, over 105 countries has endorsed a national action plan to fulfill the provisions of Resolution 1325. But we know that a lot more has to be done. Your Excellencies, the coming Summit of the Future is a bold opportunity that dares to imagine a different world, but that vision cannot remain simply aspirational. It demands action worthy of its name. It demands that when global leaders gather the voices of women, not just as witnesses to crisis, but as agents of change, ring out from the earliest discussions, not just the symbolic side panels. Women around the world will be watching that summit closely. Their hopes, their skepticism, their determination to be architects of a better future, to bring diplomacy at its highest level for the benefit of the global good, to have their human rights be respected across the board, rests on whether words finally translate into demonstrably different world. Let us give them the cause to believe. Thank you.